Hey there, hey there, hey there. What does it take to be a successful music teacher? Great question. I'm Glory St. Germain from Ultimate Music Theory, and I'm here with my very special guest, Adrienne McKinney. How are you doing, Adrienne?
Hello, Glory. It's great to see you, and I'm doing fantastic.
Great.
Happy to
Well,
be here.
I'm so excited because you are a very successful Ultimate Music Theory teacher. And sometimes, I think people wonder, what does it really take to be successful? What does that mean for you? What's the secret, behind teaching with confidence and impacting students with all these effective lessons? We can be teachers, but it doesn't mean that we're really connecting and then actually making money. So there's kind of a lot to talk about when we unpack all of this. But let's maybe start, if you don't mind, just introducing your story and how you got started with teaching.
Oh, okay. That goes back a while. So I started teaching while I was studying music in college.
Yes.
And I won't say what year it was, but it was it was a long while ago. And it was, at the time, I wasn't very confident, but it was something I kind of needed to do, and I wanted to do it. So it was a matter of picking the books. The books mattered because that was what I was using. It's like these method books are my curriculum, and I would teach it and turn the page and teach it and turn the page and teach it. And through doing that, I had some success with that. My students did well and they learned the material, but I always felt like I was only a step ahead of them as a new teacher. So that's kind of where I started. And then, gradually I started to branch out and look for more materials. And I was only teaching piano for a long time and not teaching music theory. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I thought, instead of just teaching it kind of organically based on whatever my students are learning, I would love to have, an actual series to use. So that's when I found your Ultimate Music Theory materials, and it's just been fantastic because all very nice, and I hardly have to think, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So
and
that's my story.
And I think that really is the key to having fun. And Adrienne and I met, online, which is such a fantastic opportunity right now for music teachers. And in fact, we have a 3-day live music teachers event, which is Music Business Mastery. I'm going to pop this up here so you guys can go ahead and get registered. It's MusicBusinessMastery.live. It's a 3-day event where we really talk about and drill down on, how can you teach with confidence and how can you generate cash flow into your business and so on. And when we look back, Adrienne, and you've been inside our Ultimate Music Theory Teachers program and our community, and we are such, I think, a really amazing group of supportive educators for each other. And I think that is certainly something that means a lot to me. So what would you say is your sort of secret sauce in how you have come to now teach music theory with confidence?
My secret to teaching music theory with confidence is having access to the materials that I know I need and being able to assess what my students need. If I look at it from their point of view, that makes it so much easier for me. And then I can match that with, the levels I need. I had a student, I guess he's probably 11 now, who was in, I think, one of the prep levels last year. And it was just, it worked out great for him because everything he was learning matched what he was playing as well. Mm-hmm. So if we're talking about a cadence in his piece, we can go over to his prep 1 or 2, I forget, book and say, oh, here it is. This is that cadence. This is that 5/1. And he can, I found it really helpful. And this student in particular, and this really speaks to the program, I think, he was the only student in the class because that was the time. That's just how the timing worked out, and the age group and the level. And so every week he had his own theory class, and he had his own private piano lesson, and he's signing up again. So I'm just really thrilled with that. Yeah. But I really feel like my secret for success in that regard and being confident to teach it is just having access to the materials and being able to look over it and do the certification program. I'm this close to completing the the last part of the certification. So, yay.
Well, your story is a lot like my own, and that I wasn't a very confident music theory teacher. And I used to send my students to other teachers because I didn't feel I knew anything. And Eventually, I realized that my students were going to leave me if I didn't step up my game. And I think it's why I created MusicBusinessMastery.live event, is so that we can connect with teachers and say, hey, there is help out there. Because if you want to be an effective educator, teaching music theory is a part of it. And as I've written over 50 books in music theory education, and the reason is so that exactly what you said, Adrian, that you can start at the beginner ABC level and know that you have a consistent, accumulative program that's going to take you all the way through to the advanced levels, and feel not only confident as a teacher, because we provide you with all of lesson plans and marketing materials to grow your classes and all the rest of it. And certainly inside the Ultimate Music Theory Certification course, which you're this close to finishing. I can't wait to send you your certificate. Let's go. We have it on record, right?
All right.
All right. Challenge is that it really does help teachers teach with confidence. And it's the words that we use. And we also talk about learning styles, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, and how can you connect and make that impact, that real connection to your students. So I'm really proud of you for taking the certification course and just owning your own professional development. I continue to learn. I'm always a student involved in so many, I have got a lot of coaches in my business, 5 to be exact, because they're all for different aspects. And even like an athlete, the greatest athletes in the world still have a coach, right? And
Yes.
I'm honored to be a music teacher's coach. It's something I really love doing, and we share together. I'm always learning just as much as they are. So when we take, we've got our music theory materials. So what, perhaps thinking about what really impacts students with effective lessons, what have you learned sort of since going through the program and participating in Music Business Mastery, that's something that really impacts students? Like, what is sort of the fun thing that you've seen, like, oh, I can do this with my students, whether you're teaching online or whether you're teaching in person? What is sort of that it fun factor for you?
Oh, well, for me, the fun factor is finding something that they already know and letting them demonstrate that they know it. So not always giving them something that's at the next level, that's challenging them to, teach them, and not teach at them, but to ask questions and give them, they call it spiral learning, I think, in education circles, but to go back to something they already know and use that and let them build on it and recognize these connections themselves. Because that's like, their eyes go, oh, I know this. Miss Adrian, I already understand this because I learned this over here and now it works over here. So
that is gold. That is gold. For those of you that are taking notes, write that down, because that is gold. And I'm just going to repeat what you said because it's gold. And when you have a student who's working on something and they had previous experience, when you go back and play it again, not only does it make you feel good because you actually know what you're doing, but to then invite the student to teach you. So you become the student. And how much fun is that to be the teacher, right? I always wanted to be the teacher. And I think that does give them a deeper understanding. And even when we think about this as music teachers and musicians, if I go back and play a piece that I learned as a student, and now I have to go back and revisit that piece as a teacher, it takes on a whole different dimension in teaching, because I now understand the piece at a deeper level. And I think it's a lot of fun. Like you said, your students must be like going, oh, I'm so smart, right?
Yes. Make them feel smart. It's great. I mean, it just makes it all better.
Yeah. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. So we know we've got our teaching materials. We're using Ultimate Music Theory teaching materials, or whatever it is that you're using that works for you. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to engage students in a fun way, having them revisit something, doing an analysis, as giving them those theory tools, and then checking in their music to see how does that correlate so that the light bulb goes on. And we want to be engaging visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So all 3 modalities is what accelerates learning. So we've got all of that. And so let's talk about the business. So in MusicBusinessMastery.live event that we're doing, it's a 3-day event. It's experiential. We're going to work through the 3 days of not just taking notes, although I did create a workbook for you, but it's not just about taking notes. It's about implementing these action steps every single day. You will be given action steps in helping you through mindset so that you can really realize, how can I shift into that growth mindset and take my business to the next level? Strategies. How can I achieve what Adrienne did as she's going through the program? What does that look like for me? And how can I be a confident music teacher? And finally, the tools that are going to get you to the financial goals that you want to make and live your dream lifestyle. So we've kind of talked about that, but let's talk about the business. Because so often we as music teachers think, I'm just a music teacher. And we don't often say the words, I am a proud music business owner. How does that feel for you when you take on those words, Adrienne?
Oh, I try to take out the word just whenever I can.
Good.
I mean,
Good.
I'm an independent music teacher. This is what I do. It's my full-time business. So,
Yes.
I have to consider it that way and not just, oh, I'm a piano teacher. I'm a French horn teacher. I'm a music theory teacher. No, I'm a music educator.
And and when you take that ownership on, there is so many opportunities now to be generating cash flow into your business. If you're teaching music theory club classes, or if you're even running a music theory club camp, and we will be talking about this in our 3-day live event, Music Business Mastery, because you can generate much more cash flow into your business when you have groups than when you have one-on-one. And what has been your experience in saying, teaching groups is fun? How does that feel for you?
It is fun. My experience has been that I enjoy it because when I'm teaching groups, it's all online, and I'm using the MusicLive platform for that. And it's really nice to see everyone's faces, be able to interact with everybody. They're making friends that they wouldn't ordinarily see when they come to the studio. Yes. They may see the student before them and after them in passing, but they don't get to know them at all. Yes. So there's a bigger social phenomenon when you have them in groups. So that on its own is more fun.
Yes.
And then at our end of the year, my piano students do piano guild. So they'll see each other there while they're waiting and have someone to talk to. And it's like, this is great. If we do a recital, they all know each other. They're less nervous. And then it saves time also. That's, to me, is huge, having the groups.
Yeah.
I can teach, especially if they're all learning similar material or out of the same book. We can all do it at once. Yes. They can help each other. I can help them. We get more done in an hour than we would with weekly individual lessons. So
100%. Yeah. And one of the things I'll share in the Music Business Mastery is there's actually 5 fundamentals of faster learning in groups. This is not me making this up. This is scientific studies that have been conducted, that we learn faster, more productively, and with more confidence when we are learning in a small group, as opposed to one-on-one. Now, there's always necessary times for one-on-one coaching or one-on-one teaching, but collectively, if you think of yourself even as a business owner, you have ideas, but unless you have like a community to kind of bounce it off of, which is what we do in our coaching calls inside the Ultimate Music Theory Teachers Program, is that we go, yeah, and you know what else we could do? And we kind of, even before we went live today, I was sharing with you about a new concept that we're going to be unveiling soon. And I was asking your opinion because I care and because you're experienced. And that's how we really network and grow our teaching business and generate more cash flow into our business. So I think you're right. You've nailed it when you say teaching theory is fun. Plus that's community. And for most part, when we think about music as a profession, we want to collaborate. We want to listen to music, and like there's, musicians in there. There may be singers in there. There maybe was a composer. There's a storyline behind the movie. Like, it's an element that we need that collaboration with. It's not a solo, go in your room, play, and then don't let anyone hear you. Hopefully not.
Right, because, especially piano, it can be very heads down, isolating.
Very.
So if I can get students in a group, even if they're just beginner piano, if they're doing their, just very young ages,
yes.
4 to 6 groups, it's great to have a group.
Yeah.
I think it works for all the ages. Now, if I have a student who's, advanced or advancing and needs one-on-one lessons as well, of course I would do that, because I think that's also really important, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing too, that when we're teaching music theory classes, and I'll be sharing this in Music Business Mastery, is that I very often taught music theory group classes with those students not being piano students. They
Right.
came from other teachers, voice teachers. They were from the band, the high school band. I reached out to him and said, now, I'm running a theory club camp. And he said, oh, great. And he literally said, here, please take my band students, because half of them don't know how to read music and they're just signed up for band. And I don't have time. I only get to see them for band practice. And so I'm kind of teaching by rote. And I think it's what led to their massive success, even in their choral program. I think they won triple gold. And I remember the choral teacher said to me, we've never gotten through that much repertoire. But it's because they were taking music theory classes that they could read time signatures, key signatures, melodic lines, harmony. They started to understand the music at a deeper level. So when they got their music books, they weren't just reading the words and listening to how the melody went, but they were actually understanding the fundamentals of music theory. So if you have that one student, maybe there's another teacher that will say, sure, maybe those two students have a friend. Now you've got 4 in your class. So it can just kind of go on and on. So in kind of thinking about what's coming up next for you, just before we wrap up, what are you looking forward to coming up for this teaching year?
Oh, well, more groups. That's what I'm really looking forward to, is having more groups, and more music theory students. Yeah. So I'm really kind of making a push for that. And
perfect.
I've got kind of a hybrid schedule. So some students come here once a month and are online the rest of the time. I really enjoy teaching online. So I guess I don't know if that's very unusual, I suppose, but
yeah. Well, teaching online is here to stay. Yeah. As I travel to go and visit family members or friends or holidays or whatever it might be. My business is wherever I am. And I think when you're a teacher, you can be teaching online, you can be teaching in person, but just know that, like you're doing, you can have a hybrid system, so that if you are traveling somewhere, you want to go on a holiday, while your family's at the beach, you can say, I'll be right back. Just going to go teach for a couple of hours, make some money, and then I'll meet you at the beach. So I think it's a win-win. And certainly it's been something that's, some of us were forced into teaching online, and now we're like, I'm kind of liking this. Turning out to be fun. Thank you so much for joining me today and for hanging out with us at Music Business Mastery Live, and of course your success story in our UMTC Lead Educator program. And I can't wait to see you hanging that certificate from your Ultimate Music Theory certification on the wall. We'll have to do a little reveal there. So
right. Thanks for having me, Gloria. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so much fun. Have a great day.
Thanks,
bye.
You too.
Oh, we almost forgot to say Solantito.
Oh, yeah, Solantito.
There they are. They better be signing off. Yeah. Solantito. Till next time. Bye now.
Bye.